or her life ain't that perfect. No, it's not, but she's disciplined. Just because stuff falls apart in a disciplined person's life doesn't mean that they stop showing up. They show up in spite of. And how do they show up? Well, according to this book, they show up and get it done how it's supposed to be done, and they do it that way all the time. Hungry and hustle. All right, we're in the hustle part. The hustle is how will you get there? So you know who you are, you know what you want. Now, how are you going to get there? That how you get there is not for the birds. I was literally sitting down last night and was doing some self talk, like Christy, get it together, okay? Because I have a background, a master's degree in curriculum and instruction, and one of my strengths is being able to deliver information. So being able to break things down from a higher level of Bloom's taxonomy and bring it down to a level where you're at. So first it's the knowledge, like basically the basic facts of things. All right. So like the fact of being a hustler is how you're going to get there. So a lot of hustlers get stuck because they're just going through the emotions, but they don't know how to get there. And one thing I can help people do in the school system when I was assistant principal in this business that I'm like, you're not doing a good job of that. Like you are very capable of doing much better is creating the plan and making sure that everybody understands how they're going to get there with the hustle, with the discipline, with the consistency. Okay. So I'm just going to go through these parts. The first part of hustling is you have to have a habit of excellence. What does that mean? You have to commit to set a standard that scares you. Oh my goodness. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself, and y'all just apply in the room right now. Okay. This is a moment for me. Committing to set a standard that scares you. So not operating. He even talks about in this chapter, who is he? He is Brad Lomnick, the author of this. He even talks about, excuse me, in this chapter, in this, not chapter, but in this part, the third part of the hustle, about how we will go to work and work a career and continue to be average, meaning we do enough to not be fired, but we don't go to the higher level of doing more than average, which is whether it's our problem or not. If it's a problem and not know how to fix it, we fix it in our jobs and our careers. And I know because my job and my career is my business right now. I am the owner, I'm the operator, I'm the director of operations. All parts of the operations go through me. And then they pass through me to the worker, me, who physically does the work. And there's parts of the work that I have not been doing. I haven't committed to a set standard of excellence that scares me. Like being so, what thing is that, to be honest and true, full transparency, what scares me is, and I've learned this in the 5 levels of leadership by John Maxwell. So you take like a little quiz that he gives you and it helps you determine what level of leadership you're at. And I'm a level 3. I haven't hit level 4 because of the part that scares me at this high standard. At a level 3, I always run back to 3 because level 4 requires you to give and understand as a result of giving that the return will come. Okay. The return will come by giving. And what happens is for me at level 4 is I give, and the return doesn't come fast enough. I give as a leader and the return doesn't come fast enough. Right. And so then I retreat back to a level 3 where I was like, I'll just do it myself. I'm not gonna worry about feeding y'all, and as y'all grow, I grow. I'm just gonna feed me, and as I grow, I grow. Because I can control me. I can control how fast, how quickly, how much I can put into it, and know that as a result, I can get this out. But when you are a leader and you're giving to others, expecting, not even you actually can't expect anything. Just you have to expect that God, the higher calling, the universe, that the manifestation that you're doing will yield you the results you want. Baby, I run away from 4 like a deadbeat dad run away from child support. I hide from level 4 like it ain't nobody's business because I be like, y'all take too long to get me to 1 million. And the expectation, the thought process is that's wrong because I shouldn't even have the expectation of I should just be giving, just to be giving, just to be giving. And I run back to 3 like, no, I'm trying to get this money. I'm trying to create this lifestyle, this stress-free lifestyle. And I equate the stress-free from the more money. That's a whole nother thing. And that's what he talks about just in the first page is you have to commit to a set standard that scares you. It scares me to give at that high level of that standard for too long because I have to hand over things to other people. Stop being average. This is page 1 of this section of hustle. Stop being average. Commitment to a set standard that scares the daylight out of you. So stop being average and be like, that's not my responsibility. That's not my problem to fix. That is holding me back. That is holding us back from the next level because we have a high set of operating, but we're like, that ain't gonna benefit me. You never arrive at greatness. Greatness is a journey. So I understand that this is a journey that I'm going through. I understand that this is a journey that you're going. It's not a set destination. But what we can do is increase daily, increase weekly, and increase monthly. So if I, a year from now, want to be a level 4 leader where I give at such a high standard of excellence, that I feed my team at such a high level of excellence, that that will be the journey. And I do it starting to a day. Like I think today, what can I do to feed others today? What can I do to work above average today? If I wake up every day with that mindset, and that becomes a mindset over the week, and that becomes a mindset over the month, and that becomes a mindset over the year, and that becomes a lifestyle mindset. But I have to first start today because it is not a destination. I just wake up and I'm there. No, it's by doing a little bit better each day. And then the next part of this section two, I break it down. The whole part is hustle. Section two of hustle is stick-with-it-ness. Woo, this is the T. This is talking to me. Y'all just a fly on the wall in the room of me talking to myself as I'm reading this book. Stick-with-it-ness. All right, so we have, not just you, but we, me and you, have committed to set a standard that scares us, that scares the daylight out of us. That's the commitment we made. We have committed that this is a journey. It's not a destination. We have committed that we're going to do something every day that leads us towards the standard that we're setting for ourselves. And then we're going to stick with it. Woo, that's the T. We got to stick with it. Now, it says right here on page 131 that excellence in business can be boiled down to three simple things. Excellence in business is three things. Be efficient, turn in work on time. Now, I love this formula that he has on page 132 because it says, be efficient, turn in work on time. Be effective. Y'all can drop this in the comments. Be efficient and turn your work in on time. Be effective, do great work. Be congenial, be a pleasure to work with. Now, this is what he says. I think this is so key because I fall short in some of these areas, right? Which is be a pleasure to work with. I may not always be a pleasure to work with on my team because I got great things in mind. Like we're going to, did y'all know we got 69 days left in the year? Somebody drop that in the comments. 69 days left in this year. And I have decided that these 69 days are going to be epic for myself and my team. We are about to change the nation with what we do in these next 69 days. We are about to make a huge difference in these next 69 days. I may not in my leadership group. Now, to everybody, I'll turn out and be amazing, like pumped up, ready to go, change the world. 69 days left in the year, y'all. Can you believe that? Yes, 69 days. And it's about to go down with my team. With my leaders, I may not be a pleasure to work with. I may not be so congenial. But this is what he says on page 132. When you are working for a habit of excellence, that if you miss one of these areas, it will make up for another one. So here's an example he gave. That, where's it at? I didn't underline this part. That mastering 2 or 3 of these will take you far. So let's say, for example, you do great work and you're a pleasure to work with, then most people will forgive you for missing the deadline because your work is great and you're a pleasure to work with. Or let's say you're always on time and you're always a pleasure to work with, but you put in less, people will be willing to put up with less than perfect work because you're a pleasure to work with and you're always on time. If you turn in great work on time, most people will put up with you being unpleasant. I think that's me. I turn in work on time, and I turn in before time, and my work is gonna be great. And so, if I walk into the office and I'm not wanting to smile, and I don't like doing small talk, people put up with she don't want to do small talk. She's the fun police because I do my work on time, and it's always gonna be great. But you can't be turning your work in on time, and it's not great, and people don't like you. Those three together are not gonna work. You gotta be consistent, determined to be great in 2 of these areas. If you're great all 3, that is the formula for success in business. On time. Now, this is what I think of when I think of on time, right? We have to be cognizant of what is happening in our industries at the moment. Actually, we need to have our ears to the street of what will be changing coming up so that we are ready when it changes. For example, if what you do can be changed or adapted by a decision made in the government, then guess what? You should always know what they're saying on the streets. On the streets is where they're talking. That streets may be the streets of Wall Street. That streets may be the water cooler. That streets may be coming into church early or leaving church late because you want to know what's coming down the pipeline before it happens. That is how you are able to do great work. That is how you are able to operate at a level of excellence. If your business is run on social media, if your business is run based on the changes that Facebook makes, then I guess you should be following every update they put out. Not when your phone says time to restart your phone so you can get this new update. That's too late. When you are following Mark Zuckerberg, when you have your phone set to send you not the BET news, not the, I don't know what people watch anymore, like not the newest, you know how you get a notification on Netflix that says we have a new series that's going to be great for you. You don't want that update. That don't make you more money. That doesn't keep you ahead of things. You want the update that is related to whatever supplies your level of excellence, whatever is going to put you ahead of the game so that you are able to do great work. That when you are in meetings or when you are training or when you have an opportunity of the 5 ladies on my team who I was able to give them a small group training with a millionaire in our business. You might want to know the homework about her. You might want to know a little bit about, you might want to have your questions already ready when you enter the room with a 7-figure earner. When you haven't hit 6 yet. It's turning in work on time. It's doing great work and being a pleasure to work with. I'm not going to stay there though. On page 133, in a habit of excellence. Leading from wherever you are means intentionally making decisions like you are in charge, most often without the perceived authority. You make decisions like you own the opportunity, like you own the business, like you own the challenge that your leader puts out, like you own the challenge the manager puts out. If you're on a sales team and you go into the meeting and the manager puts out a challenge for the team, you have to own it like you created the challenge. Lead from wherever you are. You have to help the other people in the room as if you were the leader at the moment. Not the one in the background like, ain't nobody doing that. That ain't going to work. That is not a habit of excellence. What else we got in this chapter right here? I think I'm going to go on to, so right here, it says on page 138, when we're ending the habit of excellence, it says, find the first step. Let's talk about the first step. The first step is find the right people who have strengths to balance your weaknesses. Ideas matter. Occasionally shut off all digital devices and just do a free-form brainstorming and write down any and every idea you can think of and dream to pursue later. 4 tips on excellence. Stick with something, which is going to lead to the next habit. Make it public. Have lots of people challenging you. Take something public in a way to get feedback. 69 days left in a year. Do you have something that you want to get done? Then don't keep it to yourself, because then you're the only one that can hold you accountable. Put it out in the world. Let social media know that in 69 days, this is what I'm going to do. Update them daily. Update them weekly. They're your accountability partners. They will hold you accountable. If nothing else, you're going to, and then don't be coming with excuses like, oh, I was going to this, but life happened. No. Make it meet the goal no matter what life throws your way. It's not talking to you. I'm talking to myself. It's me. I'm talking to me. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, you're a fly on the wall in the room of me talking to myself about this chapter on hustle. Keep people around you who encourage you to hustle. And tracking it is important. Track the process. Write down the number of hours you want to work on it and make sure to track those number of hours in progress. Habit of stick-with-it-ness. Now, that was just in the first part of hustle. That was just set the standards that scare you, a habit of excellence. Now, you set the standard. Now you got to stick with it. Take the long view. You have the first part, which is setting the standards that scare you. All right. Standard set. It scares me. Now I have to stick with it. So what do you do when you stick with it? Whenever we hear about a new process or product, we want to pitch out our old one and attain the new, better one. But this behavior is not actually innovation. Innovation is impulsiveness. We have been impulsive. That's why I'm so excited what I'm putting out for my team for these, not even next 69 days. It is a system. It is a process that people who have chosen to be business partners with me. Oh, I have a mic here. I think I'm hitting it. That's the whole thing. That I will be sending out. I've already sent out a Facebook event for a Zoom that we're going to do on Sunday. And it is not going to be something impulsive that we're just going to jump on. This is going to be it. This is the system. This is the process. This is the only thing we're going to be doing because it works. I believe in it. We're going to rock it, and we're going to change the nation. We're going to change the company. We're going to change our lifestyles. We're going limitless. Our opportunity for success is limitless. And I know one of the things as a leader that's been holding us back from this limitless lifestyle is a system and a process that we are going to, not based on impulsiveness, this is innovation, baby. And this is going to help us be disciplined, because on page 141, it says leaders must instead learn to be disciplined. And it starts at the top. So I'm about to show my team how to be disciplined. It says right here on page 141, disciplined in the little. Oh, this is gonna be for some of y'all. All right, this is right. God doesn't judge based on what we do, but based on what we do with what we have. That's the T. Drop the book. I need to read that line again. I didn't say this right here on page 141. God doesn't judge based on what we do, but based on what we do with what we have. It doesn't matter if you are the lowest name on the organizational chart and responsible for steward only a nickel of a budget money. Turning a nickel into a dime is just as significant as turning $1 million into two. Now, you want a scripture? Here you go. Luke 16:10 says, he who is faithful in a very little thing is faithful also in much. He who is unrighteous in very little thing is unrighteous also in much. Prove yourself worthy with the little. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Prove yourself worthy with the little. I wasn't talking to you, just talking to me. I want more, but I didn't create the system. I was riding on the piggyback of other people's systems. So, turning a nickel into a dime is just as significant as turning $1 million into two. I'm gonna read it. Prove yourself worthy of the little. He done given you 100, and you complaining about I need 200. What you need with 100? What you get with the people that he's already blessed you with? What was that I was reading this? I'm gonna skip to the next part. What was this part I was reading right here? On page 159, it's the habit of team building. I believe this is the last part of this thing I'm going over. It says, this is the church. Again, this is a business owner, okay? Business owner, he says, this is the church. Oh, I just want to go back to his, because I wrote it down. Because when you write it, like I underlined it, but I was like, let me write this down myself. So I wrote, and this is what I wrote on bottom page 159. This is the church God has given me to minister to and be a steward of. This is the church God has given me to minister to be a steward of. So a lot of times we only see the person, the preacher in the church house, as the one that God has given a discipleship to, or God has given a following to, but God has given you a following. He's given me a following. You are my people. Am I being a good steward of the few so that the Lord will give me the many? Can I be a positive inspiration to the few so that the Lord will say, good job, Christy. Now here, I can trust you with my people with more because you did well with the few. You have one person showing up at your life, and that is what God has trusted you with right now. And you in there half in it with the one, and you still expect God to give you 20. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to me. You're a fly in my wall, on my wall, in my room as I'm reading this book talking to me. Christy, are you doing right by the 23 that show up for you each month? Am I prioritizing my team, or is my team priority? If let me go back. I'm getting excited. It's on page 158. I'm reading this. I'm not even wild words. I'm reading because leaders are readers. How well do you treat your people? Do you honor them, appreciate them, find ways to make their lives better, or do you only care about what they can do for you? These are customers we're talking about. Our customers, not even consultants. Our customers. Are we prioritizing the ones that do show up? Are we throwing these products in there like that's why I don't like that. I only sold. Well, that was only a customer. Did you take care of that one? I only have one business partner. Well, did you take care of that one? Are you calling them once a week? If you don't have time to call one to follow up with, how are you going to have time to call 10 to follow up with? Because that is the stewardship. That is the work of a leader, is to check in with their team. But I don't do phone calls. I don't like talking to people. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to me. Y'all just a fly on the wall in my room. And I skipped some parts. So let me go on back because that was related to another point. Page 143, I wrote the word discipline with an arrow down. So let's go to that part. 143, he says, I have many times felt that this world is most ill-defined in all of our language. My definition of the word is as follows. This is how he defines discipline. The name of the book is Humble, Hungry, and Hustle. Humble, Hungry, and Hustle. And we're in the hustle part of the book. The last part of the book, 143, he says, do what has to be done. I don't know if y'all caught me last week, but last week I said I'm throwing out the word consistency. I'm so over the word consistency. It's discipline, people. Consistency, I need to be more consistent. Doesn't sound so nice. No. If you want to grow, it ain't the nice consistency. It's the discipline. So what does discipline mean is defined on this page, on page 143. And I think this is a definition from Bobby McKnight, the one-time winningest coach in men's college basketball. I believe it's what he says. I think this is his quote. Yes, it is. It's his quote. It says, discipline is defined by number one, do what has to be done. Somebody drop that in the comments. You want to be disciplined? Do what has to be done. Not what you feel like doing. Not what you feel like, that's not my responsibility. Such and such should be posting that in the group. Such and such should be doing this. So the mailman should be showing up at this time. My leader should be teaching me this. My manager, no. Do what has to be done. And then at the end of that statement is a period. Not I would, but it's somebody else's job. Not I would, but it's too much work. Number two, I'm not going to belabor on that one. Do what has to be done. Number two, when it has to be done. Oh, I'm going to put it off tomorrow. But it was a TV show. You wouldn't have put it off to tomorrow because you got to see that next episode because you got to be ready to talk about it on Facebook. So number one, you do what has to be done, and you do it when it has to be done. The ticket need to be bought for the convention. You do it because it has to be done. You have to get the dentist appointment made. Then you sell the product because you do it when it has to be done. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to me. You're just a fly on my wall because I read this book telling myself, do what has to be done when it has to be done as well as it can be done. Number three is as well as it can be done. As well as it can be done. So do what has to be done when it has to be done as well as it can be done and do it that way all the time. That's number four. So do what has to be done when it has to be done as well as it can be done and do it that way all the time. That's discipline. Because I showed up live. I was there when I said I was going to be there. Great. You did it because it had to be done. Now, did you show up as well as you could all the time? Not, I got energy today. I got enough sleep today. So they're going to get this whole personality today. But it's that discipline is even when you don't feel like showing up that way, you're still going to give them that whole personality. And do it that way all the time. Not sometimes. Not when my hormone level is right. Because, that week after it ain't. Or that week before it's not. Or that week of it's not. Do it that way. Do you think for a minute that the people that you watch that are where you want to be, you think they don't have cramps? You think they don't have a husband that get on their nerves sometimes? You don't think they got kids who they just want to throw up against the wall? Yes, these people, we will say to ourselves, they must not have because they do it that way all the time. They show up for their business that way all the time, no, even though they got those same things going on. But you can't tell the difference. You can't tell people on social media. Some people do. Some people do put on a fake and a funk and pretend and all. But you know what they're doing? They're disciplined. You mad because they disciplined. It's not fake that they not showing a disruptions in their business when life happens. No, they're disciplined. And we want to call it, oh, she fake. No, she's disciplined. Oh, her life ain't that perfect. No, it's not, but she's disciplined. Just because stuff falls apart in a disciplined person's life doesn't mean that they stop showing up. They show up in spite of. And how do they show up? Well, according to this book, they show up and get it done how it's supposed to be done, and they do it that way all the time. Not consistent. This is I think is a great contrast to what consistency looks like and what discipline looks like. People who are consistent, they show up. They do what has to be done. People who are consistent is they do it when it has to be done. But people who are consistent, they don't do it as well as it can be done. People who are consistent don't do it that way all the time. That's the difference. That's when I'm sitting in one-on-ones and people are like, but I've been consistent. I'll say, great, because you showed up, right? Because you did what had to be done. But in all the times you showed up, was it as well as it could have been? And do you do it that way as well all the time? That's the difference between the results of somebody who's consistent, the person who shows up to work every day. Oh, I didn't take any days off. That's like the bad kid in class. I'm a teacher, and it's the bad kid, and they don't miss no days. They never sick. Their parents don't never keep them home because they hell on wheels. And they come to school every day. They are consistent, but they're not disciplined. Y'all not hearing me. That's the T. I could have wrapped it up after I was talking about the other points, but that's the T right there. It's not the consistency. It's the discipline. It's the all the way, all the time. So how do you do this? Here are the few of the most practical tips for stick-with-it-ness. How do you stick with it? How do you not just show up because you're supposed to be showing up, but you show up at your highest level of success all the time? How do you do that? Regiment your day. On page 143, he says, regiment your day. How much of each day are you spending with family? How much of each day are you spending on work? How much of each day are you with your spouse? How much of each day are you in prayer? If you don't manage your schedule, it will become impossible to manage. Instead, work on regimenting the day and keep a scorecard of how long and when you perform a certain task. That's the T. Remember, you're a fly on the wall in my room as I'm talking to myself. So, Christy, self, have you regimented your day? I have. No, I'm not the best, but I have made changes. Because the first thing was I woke up at 5. Now I wake up at 5. And it was great waking up at 5. I felt like amazing in the morning time, but I just couldn't get into I was consistently waking up, but I wasn't doing it the right way all the time. And I was like, how can I make this time more efficient? So now from 5 to 6, I do something. From 6 to 7, I do something. From 7 to 8, I do something. I'm in this office working by 8 o'clock. So what do I do from 5 to 6? So 5 to 6, I wake up, I meditate, I do 15 minutes of exercise, and I take a shower. Because at 15 minutes of exercise, if you do the right exercise, I have you sweating like nobody's business, and you take a shower. That's 5 to 6. That's my method right now. 6 to 7, I cook breakfast, I write in my journal, and I get dressed. Then the high schooler is off on the bus, and from 7 to 8, I have something else I do. I think I eat breakfast. Maybe that's the get dressed part. And I have written down my whiteboard because I got the 5 to 6 memorized, 6 to 7, and 7 to 8 get a little fuzzy, and I'm out here at the office by 8 o'clock. Regiment my day. Okay, check. I got that. Remove temptations. I've done that. Okay. The problem I had when I'm morning time is my cell phone. So at night, I plug my cell phone to charge in the kitchen, baby. So when I get out of bed and I brush my teeth, because part of 5 to 6 is I have to get up, water immediately. So brushing my teeth, drinking some water immediately. So I have removed the temptations. Next to my bed is the water. So in the morning time, I ain't got to go to the kitchen, get the water, and boom, there's my cell phone, throwing it off. Resist or remove temptation. You set your time. Whatever is messing up the time we've set aside, we remove the temptation that's getting in the way of that routine. Crash through your quitting points. When you feel as though you need to quit, commit to another minute, hour, or day of time. Crash through your quitting points. Crash through your quitting points. Don't be a dictator. Unbending disciplines often lead to self-loathing, but flexible, I'm sorry, not disciplines. Yeah, disciplines. That's right. Unbending disciplines on page 144 often lead to self-loathing. But flexible discipline will lead to self-control. Flexible discipline leads to self-control. So my time from 5 to 7 is like, in true transparency, timer clock gets 2 times. Sometimes if I'm in my bed at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. and I've read my book by 10 p.m., clock goes off at 5. If I go to bed anytime after 10 p.m., I wake up at 5:20. Well, that 20 minutes shaves off how much time I can spend brushing my teeth. I always do 5 minutes of meditation, but I have to decide, like, am I going to do an exercise after take a shower, or am I going to do like a stretching or exercise that doesn't require a shower? So if I wake up at 5, full-blown sweaty exercise, take a shower. If I wake up at 5:20, then it might be a stretch day, which was today. I need to stretch because I'm sore as all outdoors for these 15 minutes exercising. And so then I just did a stretch which required no sweat. I didn't have to take exercise, do an exercise. The difference between 5 and 5:20, because unbending disciplines lead to self-loathing. And I had to leave room for that, right? So flexible discipline, 5 or 5:20, because life happens. So I'm planning for the life happens. So I'm still in my office by 8 o'clock. Because if not, I'll be self-loathing. I won't make it here by 8 o'clock. And I'll be like, this don't work. Have double goals. Every leader should be working toward daily goals and legacy goals. And that statement made me feel so much better. Because I'm like, how am I going to hit this goal when all I have time to do is knock out the daily things? Like, I'm getting the daily things done, but I was like, this is not leading to my legacy. I'm never going to get that to my legacy because I'll keep dealing with daily goals. And it's okay. Double goals. Knowing that I'm doing something every day that's going to lead to my legacy, but I can't be working towards my legacy and letting the goals of the day slide. And I can't be just doing the goals of today and then never working on the things that get my legacy. So the actions that move you and an organization forward on a regular basis are daily goals. So it moves us forward daily. These will often be standing benchmarks and reoccurring. Here it is. Arriving at the office at a certain time, sending handwritten notes, encouraging team members, and achieving high sales numbers fall under the daily goals. Legacy goals look at the future, the end points, the high points. This could be writing a book, something you do every day while you're doing those daily goals. This could be writing a book, winning an award, being able to retire, or if you're a professional football player with a career, a span of a few years, winning a Super Bowl. All right. So it's the daily goals and legacy goals. Now I can keep going because this book is full of the tea. I've already gone over about 15 minutes. I got to do better with that. I'm not doing good with that. But you've heard it here. The standout point was discipline, not just the consistency points. And that's what I call it. I say do what has to be done is consistency. Do it when it has to be done is consistency. Discipline is when you do all those things, do the consistent things as well as it can be done. Discipline when you do all the things as well as it can be done and you do it that way all the time. So we are going from a point of not just being consistent, we are going to a point now of being disciplined. I'll see you guys back here for next week for the Tuesday Tea with me. Next week is the last week of Humble, Hungry, and Hustle. We are starting after that, your next 5 moves. Aren't your next 5 moves going to be so much easier when you have discipline in place, when you have a regimen, when you remove the temptations, when you crash through your quitting points? Your next 5 moves are going to be a breeze because you got these things in place. The humbleness is in place. The hungriness is in place. Your hustle is in place. Now the next 5 moves should be a breeze. See you back here next week for the Tuesday Tea with me. Love y'all. Bye.